Hello everyone, good morning. This is a new video about your story, A Tale of Two Cities. This is about chapter 6, and please follow the video well, and try to watch it more than once, because you will find the following scenes and actions, and please be sure that you are doing your homework about chapter 6. You will find the questions, and you could use this as a guide for your answer. Thank you. Here at the beginning of this chapter, you will find that we have a year after the death of the Marquis, and Charlie Darnay now in England, and he settled there using his name Charlie Darnay instead of Charlie instead of his old name. And now he is working as a French teacher for the British students, and he tried to forget all bad memories about France and about his castles and family, and his uncle, and this nightmare about his murder at his bed. He also now fall in love with Lucy, and he had seen her from the day one. He felt her love, and he couldn't explain that to her, so he tried just to declare his love to Dr. Manette. So he went to visit him at his house. He found that Mr. Manette just staying alone without Lucy, and he said he greeted him and tried to speak to him, and he gave him a kind of a big introduction about his knowing about his love to his daughter, and that Charles will never try to separate between the daughter and her father, and he just wanted to stay with them and to complete the great picture about the happy family. And he wanted to declare his real identity and his real personality to Dr. Manette, but Dr. Manette asked him not to tell him his real name unless Lucy said yes, and on their wedding day. So he just staying without saying nothing, and he tried to keep his secret after Lucy's agreement, and when Lucy agreed, and he just now was waiting to hear the announcement. Okay. And here in page 35, you will find that Charlie put his hands on the doctor's arm and continued, Dr. Manette, I have been driven from France by misgovernment and misery, and here he wanted to tell him about the real secret, but you will find that Dr. Manette wanted to know anything, and the doctor said, no, I am not here. Does the doctor cared about Lucy, and he asked Charles, does she know anything about this, about your feeling? Charles said, no, I am not here to propose, and propose meaning asking someone to marry. But he said, why you are here? So Charles said, I want you to promise me, if Lucy tells you she loves me, you will never stand in my way. He felt that if Dr. Manette refused him as one of the part of his family, so Lucy will refuse him. So he tried to take a promise from from Dr. Manette to stay in his side. So Dr. Manette tell him, I shall promise you more than that. If Lucy ever tells me you are necessary to her happiness, I will give her to you, nothing shall prevent it. So this gives a rest feeling to Charles Darnley. And he thanked Dr. Manet, and he just wanted to him about his real name, but Dr. Manet said, stop, don't tell me, I won't tell you that if I might deserve your trust and have nothing to hide from you. Dr. Manet wanted to know anything about this real secret, and the father tried just to hide his feeling about something in his mind, and he asked Darnay to just keep this for their wedding day. Okay, Charles Darnay agreed and shook the doctor's hand, and he left. This is was the first confess of love. We have another one here on page 37, and this is related to who? This is related to Sydney Carton, another lover to Lucy, and she doesn't know anything about him. He loved her deeply, and he couldn't say a word to her. So Carton went to Dr. Bennett's house and to find Lucy. He just sitting beside Lucy without saying anything. When Lucy asked him, are you feeling well? He said no. How could I well be? He just tried to give her a hint about that he had something very important to speak about. After this dialogue, you will find that they are talking about that Sydney Carton felt very bad, and Lucy felt pity about him. Then she asked him, why don't you change? Why don't you try to speak about yourself, or to release your feeling or your anger if you have? And now here he is looking at her gently, and he said nothing to her, and Lucy didn't know what to say. He leaned and just looked at her, and he said, please forgive me, Miss Manet. I am troubled by the knowledge of what I want to say to you. And here Lucy was waiting to listen for the rest of the dialogue, but Sydney just couldn't say his own feelings, and he was just sitting without this braveness of telling her about it. And he said, if it would make you happier, it would make me very happy and very glad to help you. Lucy tried to help him by saying this, if what are you saying will help you, I'll be very happy if I could just help you. Now he just controlled himself and said, I know that you can never love me, even if it were possible for you to return my life. I would only bring you misery and pull you down with me. And here this what was very surprising to Lucy, and she staying without a word, and she said, can I not help you without it? She couldn't do anything about his feeling, and he just saying that I am not enough to you and not enough to your love. Here Sydney Carton just wanted to speak, and he asked Lucy just to listen to him. He was describing his deeply love to her, and Lucy just answered him by a question, doesn't any of your dream remain about yourself? And please try again to think about your own life. And Sydney Carton here thanked her by saying, God bless you for your sweet compassion. I am useless. Here you will find him just speaking to himself about himself in front of Lucy. I am like the one who died young. it is too late. Here he was talking to himself, but in a loud voice. Lucy felt helpless when he couldn't say a word and just stay silent. Carton continued his speaking to her by speaking openly, and he was just want to relieve his own passion to her. Mr. Carton, your secret is yours and not mine, and I promise to respect it, Lucy said. She was not knowing what to do about his own secret, which she couldn't never find till now. And now you will find that he was speaking about his love without declaring it or without saying it in clear words. So he said that my last wish is this. He said, it is useful to say it, I know, but it rises out of my soul. He asked him just to know that he will always sacrifice his life to keep her and her love family safe forever. And this is his promise to her, and at the end of the story you will find that Timmy Carton kept his promise till the end. Now Lucy couldn't stop her tears from running down, and she said just God bless you, and the Carton saying goodbye, and he walked away. After a few months, now you will find that Charles Darnay and Lucy got married, and this is the wedding day. Oh no, and now this is the big day for Dr. Manette and Charles Darnay. They went to the doctor's room and they stayed there for a short time, and when they come out from the door, Dr. Manette was in a very bad situation. Was kind of a lively shade of yellow, but Charles Darnay was in the opposite. He felt relaxed, and he just declared his real identity to Dr. Manette. After the wedding, Charles and Lucy went to their honeymoon, and now you will find that Dr. Manette is staying with Mr. Lowry and Miss Pross. Mr. Lowry comes to visit him, and when he came, he just find that Miss Pross is in a very bad situation. She was not to do anything about what happened to Dr. Manette. She found him just back to making shoes, and he was in a very bad condition. And when Mr. Lowry asked him, Dr. Manette, my dear friend, Dr. Manette didn't respond. It means that Dr. Manette now came to his old person when he was a prisoner in the Bastille, and it was a very bad condition. Maybe the shock after Charles Darnay told him, maybe his missing to his lovely daughter, and maybe all of this together made him back to this bad situation. This situation lasted for 9 days and 9 nights. He was making shoes, and he never stopped. But Mr. Lowry and Miss Pross just waiting, and they said nothing to Lucy about that. And they had to just watch him. And on the morning of the 10th day, Mr. Lowry woke up, and he found that Dr. Manette back to himself again, and the shoemaker wasn't there anymore, and the pinch of the tools and the shoe making was aside again. So Mr. Lowry tried to speak gently to Mr. Dr. Manette, and he just want to ask him about what was happening. So he asked him his advice about a patient is very important to him, and he told him the story about the doctor about that patient who went back to his old condition and all that story, and he was confirming all the time about that this patient has a daughter, and Dr. Malik asked him only one question. Did you tell his daughter about what is happening? And Mr. Lowry told him no. He said good, and this was very important to him that Lucy didn't know anything about that. And Mr. Lowry asked him about the future, and he said it will. I think. I don't think it will happen again. He means that he is coming back to his old condition. And now he said, I am thankful to said the doctor about bending his head with servants, and he was thanking Mr. Lowry about not telling Lucy anything about that. So the newly married couple came back, and Dr. Manette was completely sane, in a strong mind and a very good condition. Mr. Lowry and Miss Ross agreed not to tell Lucy about her father's bad condition when she was away. Charles Darnay lived happily in their house, and they tried to bury his miserable, and Dr. Manette tried to bury his miserable about his past, and tried to live this lovely, sweet life with little Lucy. And now, after years, you will find that we have a new Lucy, a new little Lucy, the daughter of Charles Darnay and Lucy Manette, and they all love as a big family. And guess what? You will find that Sidney Carton, whose bad ways were unchanged, but now he was one of the family friend and very much favorite with little Lucy. And now this is the questions about chapter 6. This is a comment. We have only 2. I am in love with your daughter, sir. If there was ever love in the world, I love her. Charlie Darnay said this to Dr. Manette when he was declaring his love to Lucy, but he wanted to tell Dr. Manette before Lucy about his love. And now this is, I always remember that there is a man who would sacrifice his love to keep you and those you love safe. And it was said by Sidney Carton to Lucy Manette when he wanted to explain or to declare his love feelings to her. Now answer this. Where did Charles Darnay still what was his job? He settled in England, and he was a French teacher. Why did Charles visit Dr. Manette? He visited Dr. Manette because he decided to declare his love to Lucy, but through Dr. Manette. Why was Dr. Manette pale? Because Charles Darnay revealed his real identity and told Dr. Manette about his real name, Charles Evrémonde, and Dr. Manette was shocked. Thank you, everyone. Please watch it more than once. Please stay safe, and please study hard. Thank you.